Hello and welcome to the Hoof GP. My name's Graham Parker, and on this YouTube channel we look at the weird, wonderful and fantastic world of cattle hoof trimming. We look at pus-infected abscesses, we look at sole ulcers, and we look at perfectly fine feet. In this video though, we're doing things slightly different. This video was produced, edited and filmed by GRASSMEN'S for their Agri Expo 2021. It is all about me and all about hoof trimming, but it's not us that produced it, so I hope you enjoy what's coming. Let me know in the comments exactly what you think.
And I won't let it rush when I see you dance, and the moment comes when I fall and time goes slow. I fall into you. No matter what, I'll never give up. I gotta stay strong. When it gets tough, I'll never let up. I gotta keep moving on, oh, till I make it to the other side. Oh, oh, oh. No matter what, I'll never give up. I gotta stay strong. And when it gets tough, I'll never let up. I gotta keep moving on till I make it to the other side.
Last year at the show, we went and we looked. Well, I dragged you to the lily, which you ended up having a great time.
I loved it. In fairness, I did, yeah.
Where do you see what we're seeing today?
What have we in store?
Well, what we have in store is what I call a true professional.
Okay.
As you know,
You're big into your cows.
I like my cows. I have a bit of a background rounding cows, working before GRASSMEN'S. And there's another guy on YouTube who I follow. You know all the videos I make you watch?
Yeah.
Cows' feet and ulcers and
Yeah.
Hoof GP.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's at our show doing a demonstration.
Serious, sir?
Here's his crushes round the corner here. And yeah, so Graham is flat out, and he's going to show us a little bit, or tell us a little bit about him.
Okay.
There's a cow so excited to get in to see Graham as well. She's got a sore toenail.
Seduce you, has.
Voilà. Remember I made you watch the crush and you said this was like the most impressive bit of kit outside a tractor?
That thing's unreal.
So this is the Hoof GP. And the farm that we're on doing the demonstration is absolutely
Some place.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's
It's done
Paul.
right here.
Paul the father, and there is John and George, and then young Matthew, and they are as mad as a box of frogs when it comes to their machinery. But equally, their cows are absolutely immense. Took a wee walk round through the herd there on
Rotary parlour and all.
rotary parlour, and they used to do all their own foot trimming, and then it got a little bit much.
Yeah.
So they've asked Graham
Graham's here
has come in
twice or once a fortnight or something. Is that?
Wow, Gary.
I know. Starstruck.
I actually am. Everybody, I don't need to introduce Graham. Graham is the Hoof GP. He's running a demonstration for us at the show. And Graham, just in a few brief words, describe your journey to YouTube stardom.
My journey to I don't know if it's quite stardom.
I think it is.
It's more infamy. So, about 2 years ago, my customers, I had a social media presence anyway, my customers were asking how to do different things, so I started to show them on photos on my phone and videos on my phone of how they could look after their cows. That kind of went a little bit further and I started putting it on YouTube for more people, and it kind of snowballed from there. So it's gone from May 2 years ago to today to about 670,000 subscribers or something. So it's
Yeah, that's no mean feat. That is absolutely fantastic. And you know, obviously, foot care is your #1 priority, is your bread and butter. But there's no mistaking, you know, there's another business coming in behind you. You have your own merchandise, you have your training courses, different things going now.
Yep.
How are you managing to cope with it all? Because even editing alone's a tough job.
So people don't realise the hoof trimming side of the thing is a priority. That is above all. The camera gets thrown to the side if there's a problem. The priority is hoof trimming, no matter what. But now I'm foot trimming for about 35 to 40 hours a week, and maybe editing for about 50 hours a week, in meetings worldwide with different distributors and suppliers, and obviously there's merchandise, and now there's an online course. And the online course came about in a kind of strange way. People kept asking me for specifics on how to do this, how to do that, what's the structure. And then purely out of the blue, a company contacted me and said, look, do you fancy doing an online course? And I said, well, actually, people are looking for a structured way to learn a bit more without having to go away. And that's how it came about. And I was quite dubious to begin with, to be honest. But it kind of exploded. It's actually only been out for about 2 weeks now, but
Yeah.
the uptake on it's been,
Yeah.
it's blown me away.
I think it's so important, Graham, and we touched on this in a conversation we had, even back in my previous career before Grassmen. We were on farms, we were advising, and you were always, you know, you were looking for conditions and feet, so that the online course is something that professionals could pick up, and they're going to learn little bits of help. It's going to help them help the farmer, if they truly care.
Yeah, well, that's it as well. The course isn't actually just about how to trim a cow's foot. I could teach you that fairly quickly. It's about everything else that surrounds it. So the monetary aspect, the drug use aspect, the perception of the public, because that matters more than ever in farming right now. We're so under the microscope when it comes to like media and video and
Absolutely.
news and all that. So it's all about the internal anatomy of the cow's foot, the external anatomy. You're probably getting that it goes into very, very extensive sort of detail.
Can I ask you simply to go and do what you do best and talk us through a couple of cows that are just cows that have been picked out, that's running through the crush, and talk us through, literally show us a little bit about what this course is about in real life?
Of course you can. Of course you
Lovely.
can. No
Well-
problem. So every single cow that we trim is 4 feet, and we don't actually trim all 4 feet, but all 4 feet get lifted, so everyone gets checked. But sometimes the best thing for a cow is not actually to trim its feet. It's to make sure it doesn't need trim, because cows should look after their feet themselves, but we put them in environments that aren't natural. So
That's true, yeah.
we need to remedy that. So if you look at this foot straight away, this one's slightly oversized. It's not a ridiculously bad foot, obviously, but it's oversized, there's cracking horn, and there's too much pressure on this outside digit. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna get the angle back to where it should be, because it's too flat. So this part of her foot ends up landing on the ground when it shouldn't, and it causes bruising and ulcers. So
When you say too flat, do you mean get her more on her toe?
yeah, so this is a really acute angle. The angle should be about 50 degrees. And if it's not, she lands with her heel first, like this.
That does damage then through.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to make that angle steeper and therefore more comfortable for her. So I'm gonna flatten this inside claw, make sure it's level and stable, and then I'm gonna make sure it's the right length, and then I'm gonna basically copy that claw onto here. It doesn't look like we've done much, but that's now flat and it's the right angle. But now this is further out than it was a second ago. And if we put them together and put something flat on the top, now it's completely flat. Obviously we haven't changed this foot very much, but we've made a positive difference. and that's all we're looking for.
Untouched, would you predict that to get worse and
Absolutely.
lead to problems?
So it's a snowballing effect. When you build a snowball, you've got a snowball, you roll it down the hill, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. With this, because that claw is slightly bigger, she's going to get a problem. Because she's now getting a problem, the cow pumps more blood to that problem to try and solve it. That increased blood flow basically means that more horn is produced, and the problem gets worse.
I see you're not just a grinder man, Graham. You like to use your knife as well.
So yeah, in golf they say you drive for show and putt for dough. It's kind of the same in hoof trimming. You use the grinder for show and the knives to make the real work. So the grinder does the bulk of the work, and it is an awesome tool, especially with that disc on it. But the knives, you can't not use a knife. Like a lot of the time we will model it out a bit with the grinder, but it's always finished with a knife.
The discs you use in the grinder, Graham, are they designed for hoof trimming? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a few different companies in the world. I'm using 3 different ones today.
Different grades, like, are they?
They're just different.
Yeah.
Different. So the one on the back feet is the most aggressive disc
Yes.
you can buy, and then the company who make them actually made me an even more aggressive one. So they are the only 2 discs like that in the world. And then this one here is what most hoof trimmers will use. So that's called a TrimTech Titan Titanium. It's about 400 quid, I think.
Seriously?
Yeah, but they do such an awesome task.
no,
They really
yeah,
do.
yeah.
And they
Priceless.
take some abuse.
Yeah.
Like you could throw that across the room because it's titanium and
They're titanium tapped, I take it, yeah.
they're
The blades.
tungsten carbide. So they get changed about every 100 cows or so, and you can
So
rotate them.
You can actually put blades on it.
Yeah.
like,
So this is 400 quid. They're about £7 each, and you just rotate them
Ah, right, okay.
once every 400
Yeah, yeah.
cows. But that's what most trimmers are using. I've got 3 different ones on this, just because I like using different ones. They've all got slightly different advantages.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing major, but this is the best disc for obvious reasons. Can you spot the obvious reason? So somebody sent me these. They actually sent me 6 of them, and I actually really like this style. But the only downside just now is this one's made of aluminium, not titanium, so it doesn't feel quite as smooth. But it is a great disc. So if he makes these out of titanium, they'll be onto a winner. They'll be awesome. Yeah.
And if you were trimming cows for say a show, you know, like your big shows, and they're maybe presenting the cows and looking them to walk a wee bit, you know, do you do any of that kind of work, Graham?
Yes, and the funny thing is, so I've got quite a few people who show at the Royal Highland and all that kind of thing. And when I first started, people used to say, oh, we want to trim for show, you know, so you do your best or whatever. Every cow we trim, and this is not BS or anything like that, every cow we trim the same way. And that's because if it's for a show, you're looking for perfection for a show. That's what you want. You want the cow up on her toes, you want the legs. Hey! You want the cow up on her toes, you want the legs straight and everything like that. And that is what we want every single day. So I might take a little bit longer to trim a show cow, but in reality, I'm maybe doing that for the farmer's expense, not for the cow. Every cow we trim, we're trying to make perfect. And it's really not like a load of rubbish, that is what we're doing. So if you look at this cow, this is one that's been trimmed about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. So you can see the angle's still fairly decent. You can see where we've modelled it out. Now she has grown a little bit. This cracking and pitted bit on her foot is actually a good sign. That's natural wearing. But all we're going to do again is chop up this trim, and this is invaluable to this cow. It may seem like we're not doing much, but if we can make sure these cows don't go lame, the farmer will make more money from her.
Absolutely.
And it's just better for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the front feet are just the same as the back feet, but they're in reverse. So usually we get problems on this inside claw. We still want to do the same, level the same up, get the angles right, but then usually we'll concentrate on the inside claw to make sure there's no problems there. It's to do with the way the cows stand. So on the channel, we usually concentrate on showing people 2 or 3 kind of feature feet in each video and kind of hone in on that. So what people don't realise is that we are trimming full time about 300 cows a week.
Yes.
We're flat out, like today, I'm here, we're only doing about 25 here I think, but then we've got another 2 farms after here where there's 25 at the first and 30 at the second, and it's pretty much like that all the time. So it is, like, as I said, the social media thing and the YouTube thing is great, but my business and what I love doing is hoof trimming.
Yeah, like this cow here is just a fairly routine
Yeah.
cow, nothing major, just shaping her up nice.
Yep. Farms like this is fantastic because they have really, really low digital dermatitis prevalence here. So it's not causing major problems. Anything's just kind of overgrowth, tidying up. And if there is a problem, because there's no dermatitis, we can fix it really quickly. So when we take on farms like this, it's hugely, hugely satisfying because you can, not that this herd needs turned around, because it definitely doesn't, but if you did take a farm on like this that needed a lot of problems fixed, if there's no dermatitis, you can overcome those problems in a matter of months.
Yeah.
If you've won with dermatitis, it's a totally different story. So the channel's as much about educating people about stuff like that as well. I don't shy away from the fact that we're dealing with businesses, and that is the end goal, to make sure that these cows are profitable. The lucky byproduct is that obviously in the process cows are being looked after better, but the more you look after your cows, the more they'll look after you. So it's about educating the public as well now, which I didn't think YouTube would be about. Into, look, actually farmers look after the cows because it doesn't make sense not to.
Yeah. Happy cow.
Yeah.
Happy life.
Yep.
This one's reasonably good, Graham.
What's that?
This hoof's reasonably good.
Yeah, so this one actually, if you look at this one, this is the most overgrown out of all 4 feet. So if you look at this, you can clearly see that inside claw is quite a bit longer. It's probably ½ an inch longer than the outer claw. That's because she's putting too much weight on that inside claw, and that'll start to cause problems. And it's problems like this that we can overcome really quickly.
Back to leveling it up.
Back to leveling it up, getting the angles right, yeah. Make it pretty. I'm going to dish it out a little bit more to give her a bit more extra healing time and make sure that the trim lasts the goodness longer. But effectively, it's not the bruise that's causing the problem, it's the hoof that causes the bruise that causes the problem. Hopefully a
Do you just do cow's feet? Have you ever tried a donkey's foot?
I don't think the crush is big enough for you, donkey.
Oh, my feeling, it was made in America, it was the crush not. Of course it's big enough.
See, here's another slight problem. So she's got a stone in here. See here? Oh. Now the stone didn't cause the problem. The stone probably didn't even cause the hole. That hole was probably there first. Now the stone's into it and the stone will become the issue. So all we do is we're going to flick that stone out. But imagine having that in your shoe. So if you think of the wall horn as the structure of the house, and this is the floor doesn't need strength in it because all it's doing is stopping things coming into it.
Yes.
The wall is holding everything up. And people often think of the hoof as a cow's foot, but really you should think of the hoof as the cow's shoe and the interior anatomy of the cow's foot. So the cow's foot is inside this shoe. If her shoes aren't in good condition, if you had one big shoe and one wee shoe, you're not going to be happy, are you?
No. That's a brilliant way to think about that.
The Dutch translation, I don't know the proper terminology for it, but if you said a cow's hoof in Dutch, you would be saying the horny shoe. And that's the better way to think of it.
Yeah.
Mr. Hoof GP, thank you very much. Graham, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time and showing us around. I know we've kept you back a little bit. We had a bit of a laugh, and it's great to see into your world. And hopefully we can do this video justice because we know you're a bit of a dab. You're a bit of a dab hand at this job too. So no pressure on us.
Oh, none whatsoever. I'm pretty sure you're a wee bit more professional than what I do.
But you love your job.
So my stepfather was a hoof trimmer for 27 years, and I always said I would never do it. And all my farmers and customers used to say when it was freeze branding, you should be foot trimming. I said, oh no, I'll never do that. That's what I was alluding to earlier on. I said I would never trim a cow's foot. And now I absolutely love it. The sense of satisfaction and being able to show people how to look after the cows better, and now with the YouTube thing there, and we're constantly getting messages from all over the world about how people are now looking after their cows slightly better, or they have a bit more knowledge, or at least they know what direction to go in, and that in itself is fantastic. That's not why I set out to do it. But
I know, and within your short time really of doing this job, you are now a leader. And not a follower. You're more than just a hoof trimmer. You're leading it with your online course. You're at the top of your game, and it's that invaluable knowledge that's going to help others. And you know, people can now go on and they can do your course and learn to look after their feet better, maybe, because obviously you can only handle so much within a certain radius from where you physically live. So you know, you're reaching out way beyond that, and I think that's fantastic. But we're going to let you go to your next farm. Just want to thank you and just remind everybody at home, and I know you have our back in this, it's okay to not be okay.
absolutely, yeah, that's for sure.
Oh jeez, this is lovely! Boys, I never thought I'd be driving this today. Now I'm into my cars, and now I'm into my tractors. This thing is awesome. So what did you think about that? I loved it. I really, really did love it. My day with Grassmen was absolutely awesome. Donkey, Gary, the whole crew, nicest people ever. And actually, we've got some really cool content coming up with Grassmen that I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna like. From now though, I've been Graham Parker and you guys have been awesome. Thanks very much, Herd. Catch you later.